The entire football world is practically vibrating right now because the whispers surrounding a massive Myles Garrett trade have officially exploded into full-blown sirens. Behind closed doors, front offices are shifting millions of dollars around, creating the exact kind of financial loophole that precedes a landscape-altering blockbuster deal. If you thought the Chicago Bears were done making aggressive moves to build a terrifying defense, you need to brace yourself, because they might be gearing up for the heist of the century. If you are fired up to see this defense become the absolute most feared unit in the National Football League, hit that like button, share this video with a fellow fanatic, and subscribe right now so you never miss a breaking update. Are we genuinely witnessing the foundation of a blockbuster deal that will completely shift the balance of power in the NFC? To understand why this is suddenly the biggest story in the sport, we have to look at the incredibly suspicious financial maneuver that just happened in Cleveland. The Browns and Myles Garrett's camp recently agreed to push back a massive option bonus. Initially, Garrett was set to receive a gargantuan $29.2 million payout on the 15th day of the league year. Instead, both sides agreed to delay that payment until September. Now, front offices will try to sell you the narrative that this is just standard business, a mutual agreement to help with flexibility. But let us be painfully honest with ourselves here. Players of this unbelievable caliber do not just voluntarily delay receiving $30 million out of the goodness of their hearts unless there's a very specific, highly strategic reason behind it. We saw a similar tactic unfold when the Eagles bought themselves time with Dallas Goedert by pushing a bonus deadline to just a week before the season started. When you look at Garrett's situation, moving this deadline frees up absolutely zero immediate cap space for Cleveland because that bonus money is already prorated over 5 years. So, what is the actual, logical purpose? The absolute only reason you execute a maneuver like this is to keep your options completely wide open for a potential trade. If that bonus had triggered this week as originally scheduled, and Cleveland wanted to trade him before June 1st, the dead cap hit would have completely exploded to $70 million. By delaying it, that dead cap hit sits at a much more manageable $41 million. That is a colossal difference. Cleveland is looking at a blisteringly hot seller's market right now, and they are smartly keeping their immediate financial flexibility alive just in case a desperate team backs up a Brinks truck to their front door. Naturally, the media spin machine is working in absolute overdrive to calm the waters. You have insiders like Mary Kay Cabot reporting that this restructure simply creates a more team-friendly structure, and that the Browns have absolutely no plans to move him. Then you have Adam Schefter going on air, saying that when he called the Browns to ask about these very trade rumors, they adamantly, aggressively shut it down, swearing they are 100% not trading their star. But ask yourself this: what on earth do you expect them to say? Do you honestly believe Jimmy Haslam or anyone in that front office is going to pick up the phone, call the most connected insider in football, and casually admit they are secretly shopping the single best defensive player on the planet? Of course not. Broadcasting your desperation to trade a superstar absolutely tanks your leverage. Just look at how the Raiders handled the Max Crosby situation. Las Vegas never came out publicly and said he was on the trade block. It was all quiet, behind-the-scenes conversations. Teams came to them. Baltimore reportedly offered 2 first-round picks, and a deal was nearly struck before the Ravens ultimately backed out. Cleveland is operating from the exact same playbook. Privately, they might have sat down with Garrett, reminded him that he asked out last year, and told him they are entering a brutal rebuild. They likely asked him to push this bonus back just in case a team blows them away with a historically massive offer, and he clearly agreed. Question of the day: look deep into your football soul and tell me in the comments below right now, would you honestly sacrifice 3 first-round draft picks to bring a generational titan like Myles Garrett to your defense? Type Y for yes you absolutely would, or N for no it is way too expensive, and explain your logic, because I want to read every single one of your takes on this. If we connect the dots a little further, there is a massive, incredibly suspicious breadcrumb dropping next month. The Cleveland Browns actually submitted a proposal for a rule change that would allow NFL franchises to trade draft picks up to 5 years into the future, rather than the current limit of 3 years. Under the current rules, if a team wanted to trade for Garrett today, the furthest pick they could offer would be in the 2028 draft. But if Cleveland's proposed rule passes, a team could suddenly start dealing picks all the way out to 2030. This is remarkably relevant because the Browns likely want future capital. They already hold 2 first-rounders this year. If they decide they need a young quarterback in the next few years, having the ability to demand first-round picks in 2027, 2028, and 2029 gives them the ultimate rebuild ammunition. Let us make one thing incredibly clear. We are not talking about a very good player. We are talking about one of the most dominant, game-wrecking forces the National Football League has ever witnessed. I have a profound amount of respect for guys like Khalil Mack, and I absolutely love Max Crosby. But Myles Garrett exists in an entirely different stratosphere. He is a guaranteed, unquestioned, surefire first-ballot Hall of Famer. If he retired tomorrow, his legacy is completely cemented. When you look at the last decade of football, the top 3 defensive linemen are Aaron Donald, J. Watt, and Myles Garrett. That is the exclusive company he keeps. He just broke the sack record. He is 30 years old, and unlike Max Crosby, who has serious mileage and surgical history to worry about, Garrett has missed a grand total of 5 games over his last 6 seasons. His body is pristine, his technique is flawless, and his trade value will absolutely never be higher than it is right this very second. From a financial perspective, adding Garrett is surprisingly digestible for a team ready to make a championship push. If a new team acquires him, they would owe him around $31.5 million in cash this year, $41.7 million next year, and $24.8 million in 2028. That means you are looking at roughly $96 million in guaranteed cash over the next 3 seasons for a literal football deity. For an acquiring team, his salary cap hit this year would only be a staggeringly low $9.1 million. In 2027, it bumps to $17 million, and in 2028, it sits at $21.4 million. Those are incredibly reasonable numbers for a premium, elite pass rusher. It is a brilliant contract for a buyer to absorb, which is exactly why Cleveland can realistically demand a king's ransom in return. So, what does the trade actually look like if General Manager Ryan Poles decides to finally pull the trigger? We know Chicago has sniffed around before. They asked about Garrett when they acquired Joe Tryon-Shoyinka at the deadline, though they were told he wasn't available at the time. But circumstances have completely changed. Scenario number 1 is the straightforward, gut-wrenching offer: 3 future first-round draft picks. It is a terrifying price to pay, even for a living legend, and it might be too steep for comfort. Scenario number 2 softens the immediate blow. You package a second-round pick this year, your first-round picks in 2027 and 2028, and throw in an additional second-rounder next year. You are essentially giving up 2 firsts and 2 seconds to protect your most premium immediate capital. Scenario number 3 involves getting creative with your current roster: 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and a young, promising player. You call up Cleveland and say, take your pick between Tariq Stevenson, Jervin Dexter, or Austin Booker. If they demand a young edge presence like Booker, it hurts. But to acquire Myles Garrett, you pack Booker's bags for him. Just imagine for 1 second what this defense looks like with Myles